I got that animal ambition. I got that animal ambition. I got that.
Hey y'all, know Smoak here, what's good? In this video, I'm gonna be watching 10 best wrestling matches of 2023 by Woke Culture Wrestling. Now, for a business that showcases events for 52 weeks a year, you're bound to see good matches, you're bound to see bad matches, you're bound to watch great matches, you're bound to watch terrible matches. That's just the nature of the business. And believe me that there have been great, terrific matches for 2023, whether it's WWE or AEW. And of course, other wrestling organizations as well. But of course, we're going to be talking, well, I think they're going to be talking about those two companies as a whole, since they are the biggest wrestling company across America. So, yeah, let's take a peek at this video.
Who wants to fight? Not me, I'd rather be friends. But as we do enter the last few moments of 2023, it is time to pass judgment and decide what are the best matches of the year. And yes, of course, these will change tomorrow because that's how the brain works. So let's just celebrate professional wrestling. Number 10, Brian.
And mind you, this was like 9 days ago of this recording. We're in early December.
Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. at AEW Wrestle Dream. So this is one of the best technical matches of all time. Also makes a mockery of this list because it could easily be in the number 1 spot, so you know the deal. Kick things off with a bang. The true praise comes in the fact that only a few wrestlers ever could have pulled this off. And even if you've watched wrestling for years, Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. still did things you'd never seen before. It also benefited from the fact we'd wanted this for ages so the bar was high. The pair also ignored the easy pops to focus on going deeper with their storytelling, which mostly focused on trying to rip arms out of joints. It is so unique I bet it's lost on some, and that's fine, but man, I tell you, this was two geniuses at work, and we need one more before all is said and done. Number 9, Charlotte Flair versus...
I like how you adjust the casuals, bro. I respect that.
This is Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 39. So this was yet another contest where the expectations were already high, which is when Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley went to the ring, and my word did they surpass them. If it had cemented the main event slot at night 1 of WrestleMania, nobody would have complained after the fact either, because these two went in there and just wrecked each other. I mean, you'd think they actually hated each other for real. Towards the end, people were being dropped on their heads too as the crowd just lost it. There was also this feeling in the air that tonight was Ripley's night, so when we did pull the trigger, it was just amazing all around. It also saw Rhea win the women's title, which served as a stepping point for everything else she did in 2023. And trust me, 2024 is going to be even bigger. Let's not forget about Charlotte too. I mean, she's pretty damn good. Number 8, the Viking Raiders versus the Alpha Academy on the July 17th Raw. Okay, look, come on. Let's just have some damn fun with this list. Because I'm sure its inclusion will mean other worthy entries are bumped. I don't want to keep this to the obvious. Sometimes you do get an under-the-radar masterpiece, and they need their due. For you see, not every single bout has to be super serious, and while these guys still smack the shit out of each other, the main idea was to have fun. Which they did, so I did, as did everybody else. At the end of it, I felt happy. Because WWE is nuts, we had a Viking boat set up, which Ivar and Eric used constantly. And as soon as fans started to chant for a table, Chad Gable obeyed instantly, and he started smashing fools. You also had Ivar doing that ridiculous moonsault to Otis, even though both guys are massive, and the near falls in this. It was 1-2 perfected, because either team could have won. That's another of wrestling's secret sauce. The deadlift German Gable hit 2 was absurd due to the man meat on show. This is one of those WWE things only WWE can do. That's why I have decided it deserves its placement here. You can't just focus on the obvious choices. Number 7, the Elite versus the Blackpool Combat Club at AEW Double or Nothing.
Yeah, basically what he's saying is it's his list alone, obviously. But yeah, okay, gotta respect that.
One of these AEW matches where people say there's no story even though there is some story. The Elite versus the BCC was just a who's who of wrestling talent. It was also anarchy in the arena, which lived up to its name, because we had an exploding sneaker, 4-way dives, people being thrown through lighting fixtures, pile drivers on cards, blood, more blood, and Wild Thing playing for about 1 year. It was just brutal, violent, silly fun. Once again, that's wrestling. There was also the falling out and subsequent reuniting of Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega, which was just nice. And when you stack that against how chaotic this got, you couldn't help but laugh. You have to watch it 3 times to see everything it has to offer. The other huge plus to me is that I do like matches that do what they say they're going to do or are as advertised, and I think everybody involved proved why they're at the top of their game. I mean, this was just an absolute riot. I never even knew that was a thing. Number 6, Gunther versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus at WWE WrestleMania 39. It is just
Banger.
one man's opinion, but still, it's got the fabled 5-star rating in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. And man, did it deserve it.
Oh,
Much like
shit.
Charlotte and Rhea, you can make a
And it
case for
should
this being
too,
the
it
show
was
stealer
nice.
of the weekend, because these guys killed each other. Not one move was wasted and they just tried to commit murder. WWE had done such a good job with all 3 guys, you didn't know who was gonna win. And yes, that's the best. Even Titus O'Neil on commentary was an inspired choice as he was having the time of his life. I suppose to break this right...
Yo, Titus O'Neil, bro, was acting like a child that whole time, bro. Not even in a bad way, neither. It was just like a kid watching wrestling for the first time. Oh, man, you better call the police. I'm like, damn, this guy's wilding.
down, it was big men slapping man meat. So rewatchable too. The lariats were also stiffer than a corpse. By the time we were getting those avalanche white noises, you just knew we were watching something pretty special. A proper slugfest done right this was. It rules. Number 5, Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay at AEW Forbidden Door. Could this be higher? Yes. Yes, it could. But let us have some fun and not forget that Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay are 2 of the best ever. Don't give me this of today nonsense either. The word is all time. It is hard to sum this up in words, but I suppose the coolest thing about it is that it's like a drama on TV. You could watch this episode by itself, sure, but for the full experience, check out the previous one. It adds to the experience. The big takeaway was that Tiger Driver, which stopped the world in its tracks, and yeah, I get it. But the thing is, they did too. They knew what they were doing, which is why they are the masters. All of this was discussed and planned to the nth degree. I mean, the whole thing is so good, only a few select wrestlers in history could have pulled it off. And I'm not kidding. It is also hard to watch at points because they're just killing each other. But honestly, if you want to come in here right now and say this is one of the best matches ever, well, I don't think I would argue with you. Number 4, Bryan Danielson versus Ricky Starks at AEW All Out. Now, admittedly, a big reason for this is because it happened so last minute. And I don't want to take away from it either. This match was incredible. AEW still tied it into the story as we got a scrap match, even though the original opponent CM Punk had been let go from the company. And Danielson went so nuts during this, he made you believe it was real. I mean, he killed this guy. Ricky didn't hold back either, and even after being murked, kept on getting up, which tied into the finish. He refused to be defeated, even if Bryan was removing bits of skin from his body. Therefore, if he was going to lose, he would die. So the American Dragon choked him out with the flipping strap. I truly believe some people would be horrified watching this. It's so intense and violent, but that's where the emotion is. Why even do the stipulation if you're not trying to evoke this kind of response? It just reminded you that Danielson is some sort of super wrestling beast, and that Starks doesn't get nearly enough credit for the level he's at. Oh, it's so good. Number 3, MJF versus Bryan Danielson at AEW Revolution. Is this the best Iron Man match ever? Yes, I think it is. Now I have to stop answering my own questions. The only issue with such a fight is that the audience knows the finish isn't coming for an hour, and therefore those involved have to use the prior minutes to just build and build and build. That's exactly what Danielson and MJF did from minute 1 though, because you saw them rise and then fall as the sheer difficulty of navigating such a match started to show on their faces and in their bodies. Again, the clue is in the name, Iron Man. Maxwell also brought out some rare tools as he hurled Bryan into a table and tombstoned him through the wreckage. When it was clear this was going to be tied up 3-3, the fans went crazy. That's right, they'd seen 60 minutes, but they wanted more. It also ended because MJF went full on asshole and cheated. The fact Max used the damn oxygen tank as a weapon that he needed to carry on was the icing of the cake too. And yeah, even though this makes me sound like a massive nerd, I think this is a work of art. It should be studied and learned from. I mean, they paced it perfectly. Number 2, FTR versus Bullet Club Gold from the 15th of July AEW Collision. I mean,
Man,
this went an
that's-
hour.
yeah.
An hour
For
on
TV.
free TV.
Yep.
Nobody saw that coming. I still don't really know why we did this, but I am grateful
Like
for
55
it.
minutes
Because
to be
Jay White,
exact.
Juice Robinson, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler decided to shine a spotlight on the AEW tag team titles. And, well, they did exactly that. There was also 2 out of 3 falls, which let them spread out their ideas. And when we got to the finishing stretch, forget about it. They had me. I had no clue in what direction this was going to head. The fact Dax tapped Juice out to the sharpshooter had a certain poignancy to it too. It's just masterful in terms of keeping you on the edge of your seat. And you'd be hard pushed to find a better tag team fight this year. Number 1.
And Jim Cornette even said that was the best TV tag team match he ever seen in his life. I was like, wow. And he been around the block like 4 times.
And Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay from Wrestle Kingdom 17. I mean, where the flub do I even start? Now, you can argue that round 2 was better, but that's sort of the point. We've discussed it already. You need both to understand how great these matches are. The difference being that as hard-hitting as the second was, nothing will ever come close to this. For some reason, Omega and Ospreay decided to tell the story of Will being massacred by Kenny, although it did make sense. Ospreay had been shouting that he had usurped Omega in the Best of the Generation Wars, so Kenny went in there and he beat the flubbing shit out of him. They just went at it from the opening bell too. When Will's head went through a table at ringside, I mean, it is terrifying, and it gets more dangerous too. It meant the final flurry saw Ospreay find his second win and return with yet more brutality. I mean, you just didn't know who was going to get the win. Of course, it was Omega who would have his hand raised, but I tell you can watch this over and over and over and see something new. It is a one-of-a-kind special match that we should all feel honored to have been alive to see. I know that sounds like hyperbole, but I totally mean it. Know any other matches that you want to talk about when it comes to the match of the year in 2023? Make sure you leave us a comment below.
It was a cool vid. A lot of them was AEW, and I can't fault him for that. He did heavily state it was his opinion, obviously. I didn't watch the majority of them because he did list a lot of AEW pay-per-view matches, and so I don't even bother to buy them pay-per-view. Cause it'd be like $60 and stuff. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And I think it is worth it, considering like AEW do put on great wrestling matches. Like, it's more wrestling than WWE in terms of like the in-ring work. But WWE obviously does the overall better production. He said Daniel Bryan versus Zack Sabre Jr. I can't imagine how terrific that match would be. Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay, another banger that I can only imagine. If AEW get right and end up having a streaming service similar to WWE with their network on Peacock, I'll definitely like go back and watch them. I do that with WWE on Peacock anyways. Yeah, it was a fair list. The one that got me, I was like, oh, was that tag team match with Chad Gable and Otis versus the Viking Raiders. I was like, okay, underrated. I appreciate it. That Viking Raiders match on Raw, I remember seeing that. It was cool. It was cool. Like he said, it was fun. I respect the hell out of that. He left out Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. I thought that match was gonna be on here. I'm not gonna lie. You know, it's fair. The match was 34 minutes long. They had more rest stop than anything. That was the thing about that match. It's not just Roman Reigns match. It's just rest stop after rest stop. You have to be in the right state of mind when you're watching matches like that. What I did really appreciate was that triple threat match with Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and Gunther. That match was a banger. I think it was like 15 minutes long, and it was fantastic, bro. I seen it on X, because somebody also said this match was great, but somebody replied to him saying, nah man, this was a straight spot fest. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns was a banger, blah blah blah, storyline. I'm like, I didn't reply. My reaction was like, bro, come on. It's sports entertainment, they're all spot fest. What the hell? It's all spot fest. And plus, he's acting like that triple threat match, it was like a bunch of flips. Like, they're jumping off turnbuckles constantly. No, bro, that wasn't even how it was. It was a straight chop fest and heavy hitting affair with forearms, suplexes. Come on now, power bomb, the whole 9. It's like if you're an adult, bro. If you watch that match, anybody that watched them, you say, "Oh man, these guys going at it for real." Oh snap! I respect Simon Miller for that, bro. On God. Thank you guys for watching. Peace. I'm out.